Good evening, everyone. God, what a long week. Having to sit here, twiddling my thumbs over what I'm going to do next. But I think I've decided on something. Let's talk about Sadiq Khan. Let's talk about probably what I would call one of the most racist, if not the most racist, mayors of London, as well as the worst mayor of London, in my humble opinion at least, that we've ever had. A man whose idea of getting change in this country, or rather the city of London, involves stop and search, conforming to Black Lives Matter, or maybe I was right first time. And then let's also add in the fact that he didn't want a plinth and a memorial made of Queen Elizabeth II, God rest her soul. A man who has also said about Brexiteer David Amess, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will remember this video, but David Amess decided, well, no, he didn't decide to die. He got killed in a church by a Somalian man, Ali Harber Ali. He got killed, or more rather, and accurately, assassinated. And what did Sadiq Khan say to this now ex-Brexiteer? He said that he had merely passed away. Yes, this is a man who is so heavily brain damaged beyond repair, you would almost think that his brain itself was bought from a fucking second-hand black market. This is a man who cares not for the ordinary British man or woman that lives in this country, but rather building his own little caliphate called Londonistan. This is a man who will always advocate for Black Lives Matter. He will always stand up to racism and the woke virtual signalling bollocks that often comes out of the left wing and the marxist wankers in this country, or around the world for that matter. But he's not willing to say anything about his own party, just like David Lammy would. I'm trying to remember her name, so I'll just call her What's-Her-Face for the time now. I think it was Raz something, just to briefly divert. But she decided to call Kwasi Kwarteng, what was it, artificially black? But she was being systematically racist, ironically, to her own people. Anyway, she was being racist about Kwasi Kwarteng. And David Lammy and Sadiq Khan conveniently want to avoid the subject. This man, Sadiq Khan, is an absolute joke. And I've said it before, I'll say it again here. Sadiq Khan, people don't want to get rid of you as mayor because you're a Muslim or you've got coloured skin. They think that you're a crap mayor and want you gone because you're a crap fucking mayor, bluntly speaking. And you could try and dress it up all you want, Sadiq Khan, but you single-handedly, in all your years of being mayor of London, you made knife crime go through the goddamn roof. I'd just like to point out, by the way, before I go any further, that the knife crime in the United Kingdom, as of a report back in February 2022, which I'll link in the description below, you'll find that over half of the crimes committed regarding knives are predominantly done by black people. They may only represent 13% of our country, but for knife murder, I think it was like 63%, give or take a couple. And for actual knife crime, I think it was like 51 to 53%. Again, give or take a couple. But my point is, Sadiq Khan is responsible for the rise in that crime. I have to get home somehow, don't I? Anyway, this guy is responsible for all the knife crime rises in this country. And I think we really need to hold Sadiq Khan to account for that. Furthermore, we need to hold him to account for all the racism that he is responsible for. The fact he's more than willing to have a monument to, I think it was 2 African people. And it was supposed to symbolise, I think it was a revolt that happened between Britain and Africa. I believe it was in the 1910s, maybe late 1910s, where these revolts got to a point where a British worker ended up getting decapitated, and that's what it ended up symbolising. He's not willing to remove that, which portrays systematic racism towards the British people. But he's more than willing to stop a monument of the Queen, God rest her soul, from being put up on the 4th plinth. Does that make any sense to you? To me, it doesn't. To me, that says that this man has no respect for our monarchy, that he has no respect for our country, and that he does not give 2 shits about the inhabitants of its country. God, thank God that's over. Now I can actually get on with my life. Anyway, this man has such a track record of being a shit mayor that it's not even funny. But I think what's even worse than the hypocrisy and the blatant projection from not only Sadiq Khan, or Suck Dick Khan, or whatever you want to call him, and another Labour Party member said, David Lammy, who wanted to conveniently divert from the racism when called out on it, is the fact that Sadiq Khan, in layman's terms, he basically wants to overrule the vote for Brexit back in 2016, where 17.4 million people decided they wanted to leave the European Union. Now, in my humble opinion, very, very briefly, I think Brexit would have been a success if we actually had a party leading it that actually genuinely believed in Brexit. What we got instead was the half-assed Tories and potentially Labour if they managed to get in. Yeah, my English is starting to fail now because it's frustrating me. Anyway, they could have potentially gone into power, and the reason I say it could have been a lot better if these 2 hadn't been in power is because, as I said, they didn't really want Brexit. David Cameron didn't want to give us a referendum. They would rather of us have been serving the European masters while they get their fat cat paychecks and all that shit. But enough about David and those other muppets. Sadiq Khan wants us to rejoin the European Union. That article, I believe, came out within the last couple of days, if not today. He literally wants us to go back to joining the EU. What part of Brexit won, you lost, get over it, do you not understand, Sadiq Khan? Or has the brain damage gotten so extreme that you have decided to forego all of the common sense aspect of democracy? To be honest though, I think we all know the answer to that. The bottom line in this case, other than the fact it's raining right fucking now, is the fact that if we say, yeah, we'll rejoin the European Union, let's just say we completely lost our fucking minds and went back to the European Union, nobody in this world would take what we have to say seriously. We're already a laughing stock as it is, especially with the woke virtue signaling and the RAF and all that. But that's another story. We would be in a situation where no one would take what we democratically have to say seriously, because they'd realise, oh, well, they've gone back on their word. What else are they willing to go back on? If they're willing to basically overrule the will of the British people, where will they stop after overturning the Brexit vote? That's the way I look at it. And I say, we made a vote, we should stick by our guns, for better or worse. Just because you don't like it, Sadiq Khan, doesn't mean you get to overrule the rights or the votes of 17.4 million people, including my own fucking mother. I'm willing to bet if it was the other way around, you wouldn't have bat an eyelid over this. You wouldn't have even spoke the edge of a word, Sadiq Khan. There are a number of words I will use to describe you, Sadiq Khan. First and foremost, traitor. Second, scumbag. Third, retard. Yes, I'm willing to use that word for people as brain damaged and brain dead as him. Ignorant. Snowflake. He knows nothing of how to run a country other than trying to turn our country into a third world shithole like those in the Middle East. We need a new mayor of London, one that cares about its own people of London, and one that isn't going to push this left-wing Marxist agenda down people's throats. And certainly a person who is not going to prioritise policing Twitter over policing the streets of London. You know, the job that he's meant to do. So, Sadiq Khan, remember who you serve, because we, just as quickly as we put you in power, we can kick you right out. And remember, the 5th of November's approaching. Do you remember what Guy Fawkes did? He tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. And quite frankly, I'm starting to think he had the right friggin' idea. And if this lunacy continues with our corrupt establishment and moronic people like Sadiq Khan, there will be a revolution, and it won't be a pretty one. When you make peaceful resolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. It's as simple as that. Do I really want to see violence on the streets? No, I don't. But at this point, people quite rightly have had enough between Sadiq Khan's bullshit, the government's corruption, the mainstream media's propaganda, the energy crisis bollocks that's going on, them constantly pushing COVID down our throats. And on a side note, there's actually an article, which I'll also link in the description below for you all to look at very briefly. But there's actually reports that now scientists are genetically engineering and genetically altering mosquitoes to act as a vaccine delivery system. They have not mentioned in this article anything about COVID. Let me be clear on that. But the fact they've mentioned the word vaccines, that could apply universally if they so wished. Given enough tampering, they could basically turn mosquitoes into an intrusive vaccine delivery system that forces itself upon us. And I think we should be very scared of that. The whole paperless system that they're going to, how we can no longer use 20 and 50 pound notes, the fact that they were constantly pushing COVID down our throats, the fact that now they're trying to engineer mosquitoes, the fact that we have illegal immigrants coming in by the hundreds every day, if not week. These are very, very, very dangerous, dark times. But if necessary, I will stand here as a very small beacon of light to let people know it's not hopeless, that we can fight back against these traitors who think they operate our country, but it's us who hold the power, not them. And I guarantee you, the sooner we take action against these treacherous motherfuckers that run our country, we will be on the right path to recovering ourselves from the corruption of this establishment. My name's Dabima, also known as Apathorex, and I'm, as always, very, very bad news for our corrupt, lamestream media. Unfortunately not this weather. Anyway, the moronic actions of Sadiq Khan, this government that thinks they rule us, not the other way round, and of course, the crooked police who'd like to cover up for the Muslim rape gangs. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to have an early fucking shower. And most importantly, fuck the government.